And good afternoon, everyone. How is everyone doing today on Transformational Tuesday? And yes, you know what that means. Yesterday was Memorial Day. Hopefully, everyone had a great Memorial Day weekend. And again, to our servicemen and women who actually answer that call to go into the Army or go into the Navy or go into the Marines or Coast Guard or whatever that might be, even our police and fire and first responders, you answer a very, very, very high calling. So hats off to each and every single one of you because you have answered that call and be able to put your life on the line for our great country. That really means a lot to a lot of us here in this great country we call the United States. We greatly appreciate each and every single one of you. So today we have a great jam-packed topic again before us today is does perception lead into deception? And like I said, I just can't wait to get involved with this topic with each and every single one of you today. And I truly believe it's going to be of great significance and great encouragement to say maybe I can really think outside the box to a certain degree. And if we can do that and do that in a way, it's going to really do that. So, Roseanne, saw that you just now joined us. We would love to hear you today. So, you join the call here. So, we would love for you to join. So, Roseanne, I'm sending you the link right now. We would love to hear your thoughts and insights. And thank you so much for uh, liking our mission here about Rewise by lifting others. Uh, but if you can join us after your podcast, that'd be great. And that would be great. So we would love to see you there. Uh, so, and Sharon, glad to see you. DJ, come join us, sir. We would love to see you too as well. Here it is. Sharon, here is the link. We would love to hear from you today. Uh, Come join us. And DJ, can't wait to hear you too as well. And I just got off a call, no less, if you can believe it or not even 30 seconds before the call, that I actually talked to a great friend of mine. Her name is Christine West out of Alaska, and she was just truly amazing. And like I said, I'm just so humbled and honored. And uh, Abdul, thank you so much for watching from Bangladesh. Thank you so much because I know it is definitely nighttime there and everything. So it's really, really early morning for you there. So we would love for you to join the conversation today. And of course, we are live on Facebook and on our YouTube channel today, which is uh, bringing humanity together. We've not posted a live there in a while, so I decided let's do this one. I truly believe a lot of people will get involved in the conversation whether they see it live or after the call is ended and everything like that. But I really truly believe, ladies and gentlemen, this conversation needs to be had. Does perception lead into deception? Now, ponder that for just a second, everyone. Why do we even get into a place of perception? Why do we have that? I truly believe, ladies and gentlemen, perception, of course, is, I kid you not, we have said this for thousands of years. Perception actually is kind of like the old saying, I truly believe is beauty is in the eye of the beholder. We've always heard that each and every single time. Then, if beauty is in the eye of the beholder, is that a place of what's actually there, or is that their perception thereof? Because think about it just for a second. If we perceive something that is great and it's something really amazing and something that is, I mean, it's going to really transform the human race or even transform our lives? Is someone else going to come and say, hey, that box there, it's only a box. That's all it is. Or that's only a car. That's all that is. And you can put all the brands on it, and you put all the bling and all those kind of things on it. But in the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, to a certain extent, does that take us down then a road to deception? And there are people, I kid you not, and I've seen this done in my own life, and I'm sure a lot of you have too as well, where they actually project out their perception of something to make it deceptive. And of course, that comes from, again, influence to a certain degree. If their influence carries weight to a high degree, whether it be a person in business, a person in the community, whatever that might be, they will show you what's not actually there, but what they want you to perceive that's there to actually lead you down that road of deception. So, like I said, I just really want you guys to ponder on is, again, why do we even have to have perception versus reality? In fact, here's some guys are already joining into the call. DJ and our great here for Humanity Together, Keith is here. Hello, gentlemen. How you guys doing today?
What's going on, man? How are you?
Doing well,
Doing well, doing well. So, DJ, since you're here and everything like that, I got to get your take on it. And we'll go to Keith here in just a minute. Does perception lead to deception in your view?
Well, so perception is reality for whoever it's coming from, but yes, absolutely. It can lead to deception every time too. Yeah.
So then the question then becomes, and I did post this before you got on, then what would be the need for perception then? Why would we need perception?
It's self-awareness. We get when you understand the lens of the world that you're looking through yourself, then you'll understand everything else you're seeing. And it's just something strong I believe in. But self-awareness is usually until we find that sense of self-awareness or who we truly are, who we are, and really who we are, not who our environment or the world around us is wanting us to be, but who we truly are. Because again, I come from a crazy background, but being in sales and business 25 plus years, it's pretty cutthroat. And so I gained some tough skin, but I wasn't naturally born with it. And so, yeah.
And I see someone also watching on Facebook. Michael, we would love for you to join in. So I'm going to send you the link to our Facebook stream. So here's how you can join the call. And I believe Adur is now joining us. Glad to see you here, Adur. Thank you so much. I know it, like you said, it is really late there in Bangladesh. But Keith, I want to go to you, sir. What say you when it comes, does perception lead to deception?
Sometimes it actually could, because it's not like people are really meaning to make it that way, and they're not trying to be malicious really with their intent. But sometimes they have limitations, and there's also biases that come into play within the process. So I don't know. I mean, if you think about it this way, you look at the world. Oh my God, I'm coughing today. Today is the coughing day. So what I'll say quickly before I start coughing again would be that, sometimes we would see patterns that we see based upon biases that we have or stereotypes that we have based on scenarios that we've been through before in the past. And we can quickly pick up on similarities of those particular circumstances. And then all of a sudden, we're not really meaning to really show up that way, but it's like we could be really deceiving other people because we could be looking at it from a lens that's really jaded. And we can try to paint a picture thinking, stating that someone is trying to do something wrong when they're not. They're really just trying to do what they're trying to do. And they're trying to do the best that they can. However, there's similarities with different circumstances that we've been through in the past. So I just think it's really important for us to interpret the words that are coming out of someone else's mouth or something that we're reading in a post or in a text message. We have to just take a pause for a second, and we have to think about, first of all, who is the author, and does this really coincide with how they're usually speaking? Maybe they're just having a bad day, and just not take it like their word is their bond. Basically, you want to just really just think about it, be curious about what their statement is, but also try to look at it from multiple angles too.
I love that, Keith, as always. And yes, it's about probably taking a place and reframing it and everything. Love that. Thank you so much. Abdur, this is your first time on the call today. We greatly appreciate you. How are you doing today on Transformational Tuesday? Abdur, are you there?
Looks like he's still muted.
Yeah, hopefully he will join us here in a second, but we would love to hear from you, Abdur. Glad that you are here with us. But if that is the case, Keith, I want to go back to you, DJ. How do we overcome those kind of things? What do we do?
Again, these are such tough, really
Thank you so
deeper.
much. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, go ahead, Abdur.
Are you hearing me?
You're good. We hear you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for chance me to allow me. There are midnight. There are midnight in our country.
Well, we greatly appreciate you, Abdur, being here today. So I'm going to ask you that question from your point of view. Does that occur? Abdur, are you there? There might be some technical snafus on his end. So, Abdur, if you could, we would love to hear you in just a minute and everything. So I know it's real late there and everything, but we'll come back to you in just a second. But back to you, DJ, because you were onto something there. Well, you're not.
well, so Keith really nailed something, and it kind of triggered, again, coming from the sales background. Sales is one of those kind of tough, I guess, ideas of even what you're asking with perception, and perception is reality for whoever's in it. But I think to go even deeper, something I was taught in sales very young was, say I'm selling, so we do patio covers. I sell a patio cover or sunroom to somebody, and I sell the same exact sunroom, same exact size, everything, but I sell it to for 10 grand to this customer A, and he thinks he got ripped off, and I sell it to customer B for 15 grand, and he thinks he got a better deal. Who got the better deal? And that's the tough thing about perception. Obviously, in reality, the person who paid $10,000 did, but the guy who actually feels like he got a good deal is the one who actually got the good deal, because perception's reality, and that's kind of the difficult thing, I guess, with the question you're asking is what your environment looks like, and also again, not knowing who you are. I'm always going to go back to that, because that's one thing I realized was once I was the person who never wanted to be called a salesperson for 20 plus years of my life, because I thought it was a dirty word, until I realized it was just there are certain people who carry certain characteristics that give it a bad name, but that didn't make that me. I was always looking for the solution for the other person. And so again, perception's reality, but I think it's a tough thing you're asking, really.
But then the question then becomes, though, DJ, and I will go to Keith here in a second on that, is then why do we make it so tough on ourselves and for each other? Why do we do that?
Yeah, because we're all born with the same 7 deadly problems that we're battling every day.
And you can name those 7 deadly things. What are they?
I can name almost all of them right off the bat, but lust, wrath, envy, greed, gluttony, and is it E? I think there's 1 or 2 I'm missing, but again,
No
yeah,
worries. No worries.
we're all battling them. Again, I'm deep on. I don't want to go and overtake the conversation, but really, I'm a spiritual battled person who ended up with simplifying. And I think, I guess, to kind of simplify this is perception is good versus bad. I mean, we can all understand that. And good wolf, bad wolf is where I kind of landed in even my spiritual journey of that's very easy to understand. Okay, I know if I'm feeling something negative towards something going on, I have to first look inward. Is it me? Am I wrong? Or is it what's going on that's wrong? And then if what's going on is wrong, then I need to decide, do I want to be a part of that or not? And that's, I think we're all kind of fumbling around in that world a little bit.
Keith, your thoughts, sir?
Sure. Yes. Thank you. I mean, at first, I think it all starts with us, right? So we need to work on cultivating our self-awareness, reflecting regularly, maybe some mindful practices, then working on our critical thinking, because I think that that's extremely important too as well. I'm trying to think what I was taking notes as I was speaking before. So we spoke about this basically going through an analysis process, right? So we're identifying the perception. We want to go through that, start with that stage first, and then we want to examine the source that we have. So again, who is the person that's actually out there that's actually speaking? Where did the perception originate from? Check for biases. Again, there's biases that are everywhere. There could be people that went to the same fraternity, they're in the same organization. It could be anything whatsoever. They could have grown up in the same town. They could both have blue eyes or blonde hair. Who knows what it is, but there could be all different reasons why people have biases. Then look for counter evidence and see if there's any other information that's out there that could be a different viewpoint than from what you're hearing. And then evaluating the impact of how the perception is perfecting or basically affecting your behavior, and then just adjusting it. It's so important to just keep adjusting, your thought process and not just sitting back and saying that this is it, that's all that it is, and I agree with whatever this person says. Because again, Chris, I may listen to you like almost every single day of my life at this point, I think. So, but somehow or another, Chris's voice is there. Either it's through LinkedIn, there's a text message, there's an email. But again, there's always Chris. But it doesn't mean that we're always going to agree on every single thing that we say. That's not going to happen. And, and again, when you're looking at deception is typically, it's going to be malicious, but again, it could be something where someone's biases are just getting control of them, right? They're scared at this time. All of their other emotions are picking up. They're in an area that's typically known as to be a really bad area to be in. So they're hypersensitive right now. They see a dark colored vehicle drive by with tinted windows on it, or they see a plain white van. They're like, oh my God, maybe there's something happening over here. Maybe they're going to go do something to us. And then you see a church group get out and they're like, oh, never mind, everything's fine. But it's things like that it just makes our mind go, right? So we need to think about, like, where are we at that point in time when we're making this perception? And are we really trying to lead people astray, or is it something that just is just happening? So again,
amen to that, Kurt.
And it's always thinking that everyone has the best intentions too as well. That's where a lot of us, we go astray ourselves, because when you're meeting someone initially, give them the chance, give them that opportunity to show up for who they really are. Don't judge them for what they're wearing, what clothes they're wearing or what they're not wearing, what car they drove up in, or the bike that they rode on, or because they walked. Don't look at any of that. Close your eyes. That's probably the best way that you can actually really get to know exactly if to really build that relationship with someone. I was just actually writing early this morning, and I'm thinking about how people really try to make an impact in communities, right? They try to make an impact all over the world. But again, they wear their masks. People step up every single morning. They look at themselves in the mirror. That's your true, the authentic self. Except if you were out the night before and you forgot to take care of yourself and you still look like how you did the night before. But typically, after you get out of the shower, your face is clean, everything is clean. That's you. And how many people can authentically actually leave their house, go out and walk out into their office or go out into the store, go out into a social place where they're looking to find their match? How many people can actually just walk out authentically like that in a no-name t-shirt and no-name sweatpants and just some sandals, some flip-flops? Who can do that? Who really feels that comfortable? When you get to that point in your life, that's when you know that your perception is really spot on, that it's not going to be based upon deception because you understand who you are. You understand exactly where you're at. And for you to try to have like a lower chance of mitigate the opportunities for deception to come along with your perception, you'd have to truly understand who you are and what your limitations are. And that's what I was saying. It's about stripping yourself against everything else, all the social norms that are out there, just anything. And it's just showing up as you. And then you're going to be able to just live an easier life where it's just, you're not always just worrying about what to say, that you can speak freely without having to have that script. I have no script. I'm sitting at my favorite place. Chris, where am I at? I haven't even spoken.
Panera Bread.
Okay, see, we're not even getting paid to advertise for them. They don't even give me free internet. It says on the door, free internet. Okay, the guy said he would fix it for me months ago. I think they owe us a lot of money. So anyway, but it's seriously, it's like that's how we really need to show up, and that's how you build bridges within communities, and that's how you build communities itself, is by just being able to speak and be you without deception. And again, don't really sit back and don't wish any type of harm or ill will against anyone else that maybe has gone the opposite path, because you're looking at them from who they are right now, but we're not really getting back to where it all started from their childhood, any of the other trauma that they could have had, which is really, that's what's happening right now. They're really their inner child that is speaking up right now, saying, I don't trust you because this, I don't trust you because that, because someone let me down in the past or whatever happened. So always just try to operate, give people grace, and you'll be fine. I'm done taking over.
Keith, I'll tell you, I got to jump in though real quick because you nailed something with that. And I think what you nailed with that is the communication. If you nailed with, we're going to have opposite opinions, and that's okay based on whatever the different looks or styles, but have the communication, have the conversation with somebody. And after you talk with somebody, then you can really get a better idea of, like you're saying, exactly everything you're saying, what their true story is, what they're all about. And then again, there's so much power from people's stories. And I think we've come to a time now where everybody's so afraid to share their story or even share their opinion or voice.
And DJ, I love hearing your story. I loved hearing your shares yesterday, actually, on the call. I was just thinking about a lot of the businesses when I was doing credit card processing, when we were actually working with freight brokers. And I had one that was actually in our building that was pretty good at it. But again, I saw exactly all the stress they were going through and all the different calls. It was just pretty crazy. Getting back to our story, it's really about people, again, understanding that they have that space that they're able to share their story. Sometimes people hide their story. You see people showing up for work and they don't feel free based upon their cultural backgrounds to wear whatever their clothing that they would wear typically, or their hair. Different things like that it's like they can't truly embrace their story and share it with other people because they're always hiding some facet of it. So it's like once we can truly just show up as ourselves, then our story is going to resonate without fear, and we're going to be able to authentically connect with people. We need to share our story because you're talking about sales. And, again, you could tell I was in sales probably. I sold a couple things, maybe even sold cars before. Please don't hold it against me. I did a lot though. I did plenty of cars, but I was at one dealership where we only did 2 cars a month. Literally, there was 2 or 3 cars a month. Got pulled from that dealership, went to another one, where I think the highest that I got up to was it was double digits. It was probably like 50, 60 or something, but I was doing internet manager work. So I was getting people in by AOL Autos, which is years ago. I'm dating myself, Car by Tel, like all this other stuff. But we were doing more than just having a simple car transaction, right? I was picking people up. I was driving across bridges, driving 3 or 4 hours away to give somebody the deal of their life. And even the people that were coming into the dealership that were trading in their vehicle, we were making money off the trade. We were making money off the financing. We were making money off everything. But the customer was still the happiest person out there because of the service that they were getting. And just like you had mentioned, that's where it goes. What it goes along with is, like you had mentioned, that some people, it's their perception of the value that they have. When I was in the credit card processing industry, I was in charge of working with any of the accounts that wanted to close, and there was a very small percentage of the accounts that actually closed. And the great thing about that was that I actually retained that portfolio. So any of those accounts, I got paid for the residuals every single month because we wound up keeping them. The great thing about that is that we didn't lose money from those accounts. I mean, the main corporation did that already paid out so many times over these residuals and activations and stuff like that. However, we were able to keep the same rates with them because all they wanted was someone to sit up and listen to their voice, to understand them, because they felt that they were being deceived when they saw these different fees. They weren't being properly explained what a PCI fee, what interchange fee was, and what a statement fee was, and if there was any ways of reducing it. Whatever it was, it's just really just taking the time and to let people know that, their perception, again, may be that there's deception because the person who did the initial sale didn't describe it to them properly. They didn't go over it in detail exactly what was going to happen in their onboarding process. So once you're able to take over that, they're like, yes, Keith, I trust you. You're the guy I want to do my book. But anyway, it's like that's how the conversation goes. With keeping the same exact money on the table, they don't want any change. They just want someone to talk to, and that's the difference. As we're getting into this day and age where technology is leading, everything is going towards AI and computer driven. People really want that authentic one-on-one personal touch. At least people that are our age, right? The younger generation, they're probably like, something, forget about it. This is what I'm used to. I like this little robot. I like, I'm going to change the voice. It's going to be a girl today. It's going to be a guy tomorrow. Who knows? They may feel differently about like how they interact with people. But people that are our age, that are used to customer service by humans, we want humans. And if we're able to actually have that relationship with someone where we're treated like something other than an account code, or we're treated by a name, it makes us feel good. Just like when you're going into Starbucks. Why do we get so pissed off when they spell our name wrong or say it wrong? Because that's our name. And again, we're egotistical, right? So we want someone to yell our name and say, yes, the coffee's for you, Keith. But anyway, but that's just wrapping this all up. It's just really, that's how we get back into, mitigating deception within our lives. It's taking care of ourselves first, having that check-in, understanding who we are, and understanding who the source of the perception or the potential deception is, and then just going back into any other evidence that would say, the opposite perspective of what you're actually hearing, and then just analyze, just figuring out what's right. But that's all that I have.
Thank you so much, Keith. And of course, now we have Sharon and Rashida here. Hello, Rashida. How are you doing today on Transformational Tuesday?
I'm hanging in there. I'm not on camera because I'm still battling with this migraine and stuff, but I'm trying to get back into some sort of resemblance of a routine slowly.
Well, we're glad that you are here. So, Rashida, the question is before us today: does perception lead to deception?
Yes, I believe there's more than meets the eye. People can have an idea of what they think they know you as just from seeing you, but that's not the full picture. They don't really get to know you as the person inside. And it could be totally different than what they thought they knew you as just based on, oh, I saw you this way today. I saw you that way tomorrow. It's just a look. That's not what's in my heart. That's not what's in my soul. Get to know the person inside.
110%. Sharon, what's your take on that?
So my take is that, yes, but there is a but for me, or yes, I don't like but. So yes, and I think that any one of us can only come at an experience or a situation from our own perception, right? Because we're us. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't try and understand somebody else's point of view or try to be able to put ourselves in their, in their perception window. But I'm not sure the perception leads purposefully to deception. I think sometimes it does. I mean, because, you know, marketing kind of plays off, what we know about psychology and things like that. But I don't know that anybody's perception intentionally can be said to all the time lead to deception. Because I think that, I mean, I'm an optimist and I don't think that everybody wants to be deceptive. I think it's just coming at it from your own perception. So that's my take on it.
So let's go to Abdur. Hopefully he'll chime in here in just a second. Abdur, what's your thoughts on that? Abdur, are you there? He may be having some technical difficulty still, but we'll like to have him when he's available. But I'll go over to you, Keith. What say you what Sharon just shared there?
I am chewing, and I agree. With both what Sharon and Rashida said, that it's not. We're going to be looking at it from our lens when we are speaking, of course. So we're not going to be able to really understand somebody else's story. We can put ourselves in their shoes, or at least try to, but we're not going to understand where they're coming from. So we can feel that our perception is the right perception, but it may not be. But I don't feel that is going to lead us to deception, but that could just make us, our perception, it may just not be the right one for the right situation. It could be just something that we feel is right at that time. So it does not mean that everyone should or would agree with it.
And what's your take on that, Rashida?
Can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Yes. All right. Again, we all have different personalities, different life experiences that factors into, what we are, who we are, and what might be deemed right for one person might not be deemed right for another person. But it doesn't make us wrong. It's just a difference of opinion. Agree to disagree. Everybody has their own journey, and you got to go by what's right for you on your path. It might not be the same as Susie Q down the street, but that's okay. We respectfully agree to disagree and coexist, and the world goes on.
Absolutely. And I want to put this out there, too, as well. And it's a great quote, of course, from Star Wars. That it's really changed my life like you guys will never know. But I want to get everybody's thought on it. So when you hear this, what shows up for each and every single one of you is to embrace others for their differences, for that which makes you whole. Sharon, when you hear that, what comes up for you?
Well, what comes up for me is that we need to respect each other's differences, because it's our differences that will bring us to, like, we're the sum of our parts. The whole is the sum of the parts, basically. So our differences are what will make us whole, because you're going to bring your assets to a situation, right? I'm going to bring my assets to a situation. Everybody else on this call is going to bring their assets to the situation. So all together, we make up a sum of, a bunch of strong characteristics. So that's what I hear. And that's what resonates with me when I hear that quote.
Awesome. And Nancy, I just sent you the link yet again. Please join us. We would love to hear from you. But Rashida, when you hear that quote, what shows up for you as well?
The differences that we perceive as differences is actually what's going to make us learn and grow from each other, because you might need that skill or that uniqueness that somebody else has, and you can be like, oh, guess what, I just learned from Chris today, or I learned from Keith today, or whatever. That, okay, I can share something that they didn't know, and they can share something with me that they didn't know, and we bring each other up, rather than, oh, no one shared anything and we're all still below the level we wanted to be at.
Keith, do you agree with that, or do you want to expound on that?
I do agree. Um, but I would say that, again, when we're embracing someone's differences, we're really recognizing them. And I think that that's the important part. Instead of just sitting back and trying to place everybody into the same bucket, we're valuing their unique qualities and perspectives. And like Rashida just mentioned, that's really helping us as a collective group, especially within this community, because we're learning from all different experiences, and we're showing people that, it's okay that, to express your feelings, and then it's helping us all grow. We're all learning and growing together through the diverse perspectives that people are sharing.
Awesome,
Chris,
awesome.
I also think that when we embrace each other's differences, you know, this might sound kind of counterintuitive, but I also think that when we embrace differences, when we do it embracingly and not shunning people for differences or shaming people for differences in a way, when we embrace the differences, we're also, you know, sending a message to the world that to also focus on how we're similar, if that makes sense. Because I think that it's our similarities that make us, you know, that we're more alike than we realize, is what I'm trying to say. So when we embrace the differences, it also enables us to amplify how we're more alike than we are different. Because when we focus too much on how we're different, people get so tunnel visioned on focusing on the differences and kind of putting a lot of emphasis on how the differences make us, fragment us. And if we can shift that to embracing the differences, then we can put more of our energy in focusing on how we're alike, and that too levels us up and builds us, brings us forward in a faster, more effective way, I believe.
Rashida, what's your take on that?
I agree 1000% with what Miss Sharon said. We do have to see the commonalities that we all have. Basic, number one, we're all human. Number two, we want a more peaceful world. We're all striving for the same end goal, aren't we? And do not focus on differences as a negative, because if you focus on it as a negative, it's only going to bring us down, and that's opposite of what we're going for. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't think you're wrong, Rashida. I agree. Sorry, Chris. And I also think, to her point, we do need to focus more on the fact that most of us have a common goal. And if we really have this common goal, then why the heck do we spend so much time being adversaries to each other and fighting with each other? If we really look at things from the common goals that we have for humanity and for this world, that alone would bring us together and connect us a lot more, I believe. It shouldn't be about it should be about agreeing to disagree and not focusing on, well, this is the way I want to get to this goal versus this is the way you want to get to this goal. And if you're not agreeing with the way I want to get to this goal, then we'll just have that's what we'll focus on. That takes us away from where we want to go. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're good. You're good. You're good. And I actually believe, everyone, again, when we just meet people where they're at and just take them for who they are and build that bridge to them and with them in such a way that not only does it work in our world, but works in theirs, then that's where I truly believe transformation can take place and occur and everything like that. And then we, again, don't have to lead by perception anymore. When we talked about this before, it is perception, or is perception reality, and everything like that. And that's the thing that I truly believe, that if we can see what is actually there in and of itself, then maybe, just maybe, we can have a hand in not only our growth, but our way to connect, our way to collaborate, our way to really move forward in the world, or even how we even lead. And also, we do that with others in a way that it really can do that. And Nancy, I sent you the link to the call. We would love for you to join us and everything. I don't see you on the green room, so please just click that link. And if you're using Google Meet, not Google Meet, but Google Chrome, hopefully that will work for you. But if you're using Apple Safari, that probably didn't work very well. So again, Nancy, just click that link I sent you. But yeah, I just truly believe all things are possible when we do actually, again, lead by seeing versus perceiving. Because if we deem it to be a negative, and again, I even talked about this at the beginning of the call, that there are some people who will actually, what they'll do is put you in that perceived mindset that it's something that's supposed to be bad, it's not good for you, and everything like that. And that goes in and of itself to conditioning to a large degree. Then you're only going to see that kind of thing, or whatever that might be, that they are telling you, that in a way, through their influence, yet again, is deceiving you through the thing that you are wanting to see and everything. And Keith is now back with us, but I want to go to Abdur. So I would like to get his take so far. I know he's been listening in intently. But Abdur, what comes up for you now in the conversation? What's been showing up for you, sir? Abdur, are you there? He still might have some technical issues because he is in Bangladesh and everything. So hopefully everything is okay with his internet and everything. But I got to go to you, Rashida, because I asked this of DJ, and hopefully, DJ, if you're watching, we will love to hear your thoughts on it too as well. Because I did ask him, Rashida, how can we maybe see what others see, and then maybe have the opportunity to have that curiosity in mind, and maybe we can choose that curiosity over clash. How are the ways that we can really start facilitating that in a way that where it does create connectivity, it creates openness, and it creates an invitation to do things with each other? In your world, how would that look like and play out for you?
For me, Chris, it's a matter of coming from a place of unconditional love for every human being, every animal, every tree, everything that exists on this planet, because you don't know them for the fact that, okay, you're a human being and that's good enough for me, but you don't know what their life is like. You don't know what they've been conditioned to believe or not believe. And, deep down inside, they might be struggling with something that they didn't even tell you about. You can't just, assume you know somebody. Get to know them, talk to them, ask them questions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I apologize, Nancy, that you're getting booted off. Like I said, just click that link and hopefully everything will be. I don't believe there's a call-in number, Nancy, so you can't call in and everything. So we can't be able to do that on a live stream. I wish we could, because on Google Meet you could do a call-in number, but we don't have that availability. But Nancy, we would still love to hear from you. So put your thoughts and insights into the comment section. That'd be greatly appreciated. But Keith, to what Rashida shared there, what showed up for you in that?
Chris, I actually did miss it. I had another call that just came in at the same time. Apologize for that. If you could fill me in.
Well, Rashida, if you could just kind of refresh what you just shared there about what I asked you about how can we take things from a place of curiosity and things of that nature.
Sure, I'd be glad to, Chris. Basically, approach things from a place of love, and that, whether it's a human being, an animal, a tree, just anything that exists on this planet, don't assume you know them. Get to know them, ask them questions, find out what they're really like inside, their personality. Don't just think you know something, because they could have been conditioned to believe one thing one way, and you take it another way. No, you just totally misunderstood the whole situation. Get to know the person inside.
I agree. Thank you so much for your share. And I
My
think
pleasure.
that's a hard pill to swallow for many people. And I'm going to tell you why. I always go back to, I think maybe 10 years from now I'm going to be like that dude that's going to be sitting, maybe 20 years I'll be sitting in the rocking chair back and forth talking about my old time back in disaster world. But throughout the multiple states that I was been in, the multiple counties that have had all these horrific disasters, you deal with incidences of people that are still hung up on the one time 15 years ago where nobody showed up and they had to go out and buy all this other generators. They had to do this, they had to do that, and they said they would never use anyone's help again. And they're all fixated, at the history. They're not willing to move forward. And then what happens from there? It's people that, as the generations go by, they're always going through the story. It's almost like this, it's they're placing all the next generations and the next generations back into the same cycle that they were in, about not trusting other people that are out there, other organizations or other types of people, just based upon the history that they have. And so even when you're being like faced with someone that's dealing with those type of biases based upon their past and what they were taught as a child, that we do need to still provide them with some grace. We need to be able to look past that for a second and try to just take a breath and just take a pause for a second, reflect on what they said, and try to have an intelligent conversation with them instead of trying to have just a rebuttal that's ready to go. And I think that that's where again, you want to think that everyone does have that they do have the best intentions. Yeah, yes, Sharon. Okay. So we do want to feel that, of course, think that everyone has the best intentions, but when something is not going right and you're hearing something that may sound a little bit off, think about what potentially could be the reasoning behind that actually occurring, instead of just trying to, put them into a bucket and saying, oh, just because they're from this area, this is why they're acting that way. And trying to really get down to the root of it prior to just, casting your opinions on them. And like you said, just think that everyone has the best intentions and just give them grace. Yes, Sharon.
I just wanted to add to what you were saying and to what Rashida said. I think that we need to be willing to ask more questions, and also not only just ask the questions, but be willing to actively listen, really listen for the answer, not have our rebuttal
Yep.
to the question already in our, or the person's rebuttal to our question already in our head. Because that's what happens a lot of times. People ask a question, but they automatically assume that the person's going to answer a certain way. And so they're already formulating their response based on what they think the person's going to say.
Yep.
So you have to give each other grace and kindness and patience, and also be willing to ask the questions and listen for the answers, and not formulate your own opinion or own answer before the person's even had a chance to answer. Because I know for me, that will shut me down immediately. Like, if you're going to ask me a question and you're not going to listen to my answer, you're just going to assume what I'm going to say, and you're going to start responding before I've even completely answered you, we're done. I mean, I might still be sitting there, but I'm not there.
Yeah.
So,
and I love that you mentioned that, because some of the best conversations that I've had with problematic, partners or counties, it was those spontaneous interactions that we had. It was me showing up at Emergency Operation Command Center and saying, hey, this is Keith, I'd like to meet. That's it. There was no script that they could have prepared, no slide deck, no nothing. Tell me what's wrong. Tell me about the past. And that's how we actually were able to fix it. I'd be like, okay, so tell me about this. Okay, what was, oh, I'm like, first, let's start off with the good things. What are some good things that you could tell me? Now let's go to the bad. Now go back to the pain points. Tell me about the times that you were let down. I went through all that information. I said, now paint me a picture. Paint me a picture of what it would look like if you to make you feel that we were actually showing up and being the organization that you needed to be by your side. And then they would tell me that, and that's like, all right, there's our plan. They're like, what? Like, this is what we're gonna do. And it's like, there's no rebuttal, there's no conversation about afterwards. There's nothing about saying we didn't do this, we didn't do that. Who cares? Take accountability, own it, move forward. And so many times people are unwilling to just, sit back and just, lay down on the sword and just like, they just want to just keep fighting and fighting and fighting for who's right. Instead,
I think too, people have to your point, Keith, and with the sword, is I think that people have to. It would be beneficial if people stopped bringing their sword to a conversation and didn't come in ready to defend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just put the sword down. And I just wanted to quickly say this to your point of, going in and having a spontaneous conversation and not giving people a chance to script it in their own mind prior to. I think you brought up a fabulous point of where, you ask people questions, but you started out with what's good, what's working. So you put it in a better mood, so to speak, by starting off with what's working. Then you ask what's not working, and then you ask them for their vision of what it would look like if everything worked out and was going well. And you got, again, that puts them in a positive energy, because now they're in the energy of, hey, everything's working out. And then you totally flip them on their head when you say, okay, that's our plan. So I just wanted to say that I think if more people could operate from those kind of vantage points, we would get a lot further in the world.
I appreciate that, Sharon. And that's something that was really exciting for me to see it firsthand, about seeing the looks in the eyes of people that would hide from you. We had people that would run from us in times of disaster, trying to just not talk at all. To have those same people that would call up and drive by and say, hey, buddy, this happened over here. You want me to go check this out for you? Even though it's the middle of the night, I got you. It's near where I live. We would change the dynamics so much. And people saw it. It was to the point that it was just people were writing emails, text messages, and they loved the change. And it wasn't about trying to be number one or to take over any type of power. It's about letting the partners know that you care about them, that you recognize all the power that they have, and you want to support them, and you want to be a facilitative leader, but you want to stand by them instead of trying to take over their jurisdiction. And that's what a lot of the people need to do in terms of nonprofit organizations and for-profit. It's not trying to go into a new area and take over. It's about saying, hey, how can I hand? You need me to grab a bucket? It's like this Jimmy John's commercial or something like that. It's like, grab a bucket, grab a bucket, grab a bucket. It's like, keep grabbing the bucket instead of trying to go build a building and take over. But yes, we're in all these different topics right now, Chris, but I swear it's about the perception.
Awesome. Love these shares, everyone. And I see Margaret and Chris has now joined us. Glad to see you both here today. I did send you the link. Well, I would love to get your thoughts on today's call too as well. Nancy is finally booking through the technology barrier and now joined us. Nancy, how are you doing today on Transformational Tuesday?
I'm good. I'm turning off the camera. That was not a good look.
You're good. You're okay.
Hey, I'm lying on my bed because I'm sick of unpacking, Chris, Sharon, Rashida. I mean, Keith, this is just hell.
Well, we just hope you get better.
I know. Say, couple of things. What a fascinating discussion. How are we doing on time?
You're good.
Okay. I've been dealing with Bank of America, who I'm firing. And I'm going to go to Wells Fargo or probably a local credit union. I'm sick of big bank. I really am. And, if you're talking about perception. My perception is they're stealing my money. And they're making it very difficult for me to do anything with my assets there, which are quite large. I'm not your largest customer, but you know, I guess when it comes to sales and it comes to customer service, there becomes an element of listening and not multitasking, being present. And I was talking with the wire department. I was sending a mere $9,000 to Indonesia via the Bank of New York. And this guy was multitasking. I heard the keys in the background of his computer. It was so disrespectful, and he got it all wrong. I used to work for B of A. I get it. You're trying to protect the assets of your clients. However, they ended up putting me through the ringer with 200 questions. And I went through it again today with a $30,000 US wire transfer. These are legitimate. Why are you grilling me on how I know this organization? Why don't you Google the stupid thing and vet it out yourself? You're wasting my time. So my perception of this whole mess is that they don't care. I'm a number. And I got to change into a more positive attitude here. Perception. I mean, let's take a look at love and marriage. You know, if I perceive that my partner is having an affair, well, it's going to cloud my ability to be present. If I perceive that he's texting someone behind my back, I'm going to get paranoid and I'm going to try to open his phone when I know I shouldn't, and it's none of my business, and then I put it down. But I'm racked with curiosity. Why am I not asking a simple question? You know, perception as far as just sexuality. You know, am I pleasing you? Are you good with us? Are you bored with us? You know? I don't know. It's a tough thing because we all come with our baggage and our history and our own lenses at which we see the world. I'm fascinated by philosophy and the way they talked about reality. You know, Descartes and Aristotle and even what's his name in the Catholic Church. Come on, it starts with an A. Come on, you Catholics out there. Ah, damn it. You can't help me.
Wish you could help you on that one. Don't know who that one is.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna bug me. I got his book here. Okay. I'll have to text you later. The fact is this reality. What is reality? What is the present? Are we in the Matrix? Which is a whole other podcast. My God, you got to do that, Chris.
Yeah, we will.
The whole Matrix series. Let's dissect it like you dissect Star Wars. All right, that's it, guys. I'm gone.
All right. Thank you so much, Nancy. But see, what also is showing up too as well on this great and engaging conversation, and Rashida even brought it up, is about the assuming kind of dynamic. And it really bothers me. And Margaret and Chris, I would love to get you all on the call too as well. So please click that link, and we would love to hear your thoughts on it. But let me ask you this, Rashida, since you brought it up: is assumptions part of the dynamic of perception as well that could, of course, lead to deception?
Yes, I believe so, Chris, because you assume that you think you know somebody based on your perception. Perception, all that is it could be a false belief, a false first impression of somebody. It's your idea of what you think they are. It may not be accurate. A lot of times it's not. But you need to talk to the person, get to know them to find out if that is an accurate assessment of who they are. We don't know until we get to know the person. We're just judging them based on how we think they are. It's all our opinion. That's it, our opinion, not a fact.
Sharon, what's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are that I agree with a lot of what Rashida said. Is that our perception is our opinion, and that's not a bad thing in the sense that the only way, as I said before, the only way we have to come at something is from our perception based on our experience, right? We can't come at it from any other way, really, initially. So the best way to work around that is truly to ask questions, assuming, we all know the first three letters of that word. And so it often does make that of us because
Yes, it does.
when you assume something, you're basing it off of your experience, your opinion, your reality, or the reality that you're walking through the world in. And that doesn't make you a bad person. But the only way to really understand somebody else and not be deceived by something or someone is to really ask for clarification. That's what questioning does. Questioning is a tool that allows you to get clarification. So, a lot of people, at least a lot of people in my world, especially in my personal world, when you ask questions, they get annoyed. They get pissed, really. Like, why, what is this, 20 questions? Why are you asking so many questions? But the truth about questions is it's asking for clarity. It's a vehicle to understanding. And I'm hungry for knowledge and I'm hungry for understanding other people. I love psychology. I love sociology. I love human nature. And the best way to find out about someone is to ask questions. And like I said before, to really listen to their answer, not have a perception or a perceived response ready to go. So that's my feelings on that, Chris.
God, isn't that the truth, Sharon?
You know what's resonating with me right now is I'm thinking back to, oh my God, we're gonna go through so many stages in my life. We've already gone through the car dealer, so now let's go back into the bail bondsman and future recovery agent. So at that point, of course, my family hated that job. They did not like me talking about that job. They're like, that is not a, anyway, it was just bad. But I put myself into so many situations where, these people were just whoever my clients that were getting captured by officers. I was getting them out of the jail. Sometimes they would need a ride home, right? And my parents would be like, you're giving them a ride home when the way that they got there was in handcuffs and, in an officer's car. And I was like, yeah, why not? But, going back to other circumstances, I mean, I've bailed out some pretty intense people, even going up to like the Crown Council, like the Latin Kings. That was like one of our clients that we had at one point during some type of operation. And, I went to where everyone was at and had to fill out paperwork and do all this other stuff there to get this back to the office. And people were worried about, they're like, what's going to happen? They're like, oh, leave your phone on, do something so we can track you. And it's like, it's different, because again, as long as you have like the understanding with people that you're dealing with, they're going to provide you with that particular amount of respect. They know exactly what you're there for. You're not a threat to them. You're there to help them. They're going to help you. So instead of you just thinking about them and putting them in a particular bucket, like they're just because they're charged with all these other bad things, it doesn't mean that that's going to happen to you. You have a particular need. They have a need from you. You have a deal that whatever you're going to be doing, you're going to be helping them with their insurance work, in essence, helping them with their bond. They want to make sure that you're okay because that means that they're going to be okay. But it's just about stereotyping everybody, thinking that you're constantly going to be in danger just because of one circumstance that happened, or there could be some. And anyway, regardless, and they could be deceiving you. You could be dealing with people like that are, they've definitely done something wrong, right? They're deceiving you, saying, no, I'm innocent and everything's going to work out. Please get me out. Please help me. But I mean, you should really just show up as yourself and just really hope that everyone has the best intentions, because when you start to put out that energy that people are going to feel, of course, that if you're putting out that negative energy that you're scared, just like when you're showing up to a house and the dogs are going to sense you're scared, or other animals are going to sense you're scared, the people are going to sense the same thing too as well. and that is not going to help you actually move forward with your conversation if they're feeling some negative energy from you. So again, just always just moving forward with the best intentions when you're meeting with people.
Keith, can I add something to what you said? Chris, is that okay? Did you
You're good.
want to? Okay, thank you. So I worked for 7 years with people that were diagnosed with mental illness and or chemical dependency. Most of these people had very significant criminal backgrounds. I mean, they were in jail for murder and a whole bunch of things for many years. And a lot of them were homeless because they couldn't get their treatment that they needed. My point is, and what resonated with what you said, Keith, is when I first took this job, I had all kinds of people telling me, "You're crazy. These people, you're disabled. You know, you're using a wheelchair. These people are gonna hurt you." Blah blah blah. I didn't go into it like that. That was their past. That wasn't who they were right now, today, in the moment. And I just wanted to say that nine out of 10 of those individuals absolutely loved me and became my protectors. It was, Miss Sharon, can we help you get through the snow? Miss Sharon, can we help you carry your bag and your coffee into your office? These were people that, did horrible things because of their circumstances, but I wasn't afraid. And the reason I wasn't afraid and I didn't let anybody talk me into being afraid and not taking this job was because my approach and my philosophy was treat people with respect and you're going to get respect back. Treat people with judgment because of what they did, you're going to get that back. So it really resonated with me, Keith, and I just wanted to share my experience with.
And thank you for doing that. And again, they would have wanted to show it for you. That makes me think of the times, like, I used to be out locally anywhere in my area that anyone saw my car, people would walk into clubs, restaurants, bars, and wherever I was at, they would surround me and they would be like, "Keith, you good?" They would look at everyone else. They'd be like, "Is anyone messing with you? Get him a drink, get him," like, or whatever it is. Like, people would really look out for me. And even when
I had the same experience. These people would see me like out shopping on a weekend because, it was local or somewhat local to where I worked. They'd be like, "Can we carry your groceries? Can we do this? How's your husband? How's your son?" So yeah.
The difference is, there's a quote, of course, there's like a rap line, but it's like, I always said it, even like within like DEI meetings with mayors and senators, governors, I've said the same thing, that real recognizes real. So the fake people that are out there that want to front, that they want to act like they're trying to put on a show for people, they're nothing. If they go into those circumstances where they're in the areas where I lived before in the past, where like it was the carjacking capitals, everything like that, I was respected. I was able to walk around the streets where everyone else that was around me, their cars would get broken into. I was fine. But it's just because of how you're actually acting. And that's the most important thing, going back to your authenticity. And then again, your perception that you have of people. You're just really just sticking with that and not trying to, the second you start going into the other realm, into deception, people will pick up on that. They'll pick up on that right away. So it's just extremely
Hey, could I
important.
say something?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so Sharon, I love that. I give my leftover food to homeless, from a restaurant. I'm walking around with it. I'm not going to be around a refrigerator. It's going to go to waste. So I hand it to a homeless. This is what happened in Dallas to me recently. I smoke a cigarette now and then, especially if I'm drinking and, 2 puffs and I've got a buzz. But, I figure at 63, to hell with it. Something's going to get me eventually, right? So I was staying in an Airbnb. I was between 2 homes, selling and buying. And I was on the porch, never smoke inside. Yuck, icky. And one of the residents came out. There were 5 units in this Airbnb near downtown Denver. And this woman gives me a glare and she goes, "Smoking." And then she walks to the curb waiting for her Uber. Well, I call out to her because I always want to befriend people and make right a wrong. And so I yelled over to her, "Hey, I'm going to have a barbecue." Totally ignored me. Like, her back was spoke volumes. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just brushed it off. It kind of hurt me because I'm so sensitive. And here's a stranger, and it hurts me. But I've been like that since a child. So I saw her one day, and it turns out she lives right upstairs from me. And I said, Tana, come on over. She spent the evening with me, drinking wine, regaling of our life stories, and I never had a cigarette. I never needed one. I don't smoke that often. We are best friends now. Isn't that amazing? And it just came from listening to each other. And she shut down completely with me. And I was going to break that nut because I knew that she was a good person and she'd be great to get to know. That's it.
And that's what we can do, Nancy. One conversation at a time, one opportunity at a time, and maybe even that one moment at a time, if we just allow that to occur. And Margaret's going to be on here in about 10 minutes, but for those who can't stay, totally understand that and everything like that. So if you guys got to go, totally get that. But I truly believe we can do so much with maybe creating space. And, and Margaret said, Nancy, she's now coming over. So Margaret's coming over, Nancy. So just be prepared for guests coming in and of itself. So that's going to happen and everything. Yeah, no worries, Sharon. Absolutely.
Yeah, come on over, Margaret. Margaret, where are you?
She's right now. She's going to be on in about 10 minutes, so she'll be on here in a minute. But like I said, for those that, like I said, who have to go, you're more than welcome to go and that kind of thing. If you want to share a final thought, please do so.
Well, before I go, Chris, I just would like to share a final thought. One being, I want to thank you for you and Keith for always opening up the Bringing Humanity Together platform to discuss these very needed topics and sometimes difficult topics, but that need to be brought to the forefront. So I want to thank you for that.
Amen.
And then secondly, I want to thank you for including me on stage and allowing me to share my thoughts and opinions and experiences with everybody so that we can all have a greater impact on the world. Because I think one of the ways we have that impact is by sharing our experiences and being vulnerable in that way, because it's just real life, folks. So I don't want people to be afraid so that we have to, keep our experiences inside, because that's not going to help anything. So I just want to thank you again for including me and for allowing me to share, and also again for having this platform so that we can have these tough conversations and, bring humanity together for real. Hopefully, I believe we're doing that one conversation at a time. So thanks, Chris.
Well, Sharon, I truly believe when we just give people an opportunity to share who they really are, not what we perceive them to be, not what we think it to be, but what is actually before us, then that's a way that we can, again, listen to learn, and then learn to grow, and then grow to thrive, and then maybe even lead ourselves in a better and healthier way, and we can allow others to do the very same. Because again, in one way, shape, matter, or form, Sharon, we're all on the same kind of journey to a certain extent. It might be a little bit different to one to the next, and I totally get that. Because think about it, though, if we were on that very same exact journey, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right here, right now, because of it. It's just like if we had that one book to success, or that one book to life, we would already know the answers, number one, and we won't have to actually cheat on the test or anything. We can actually go out and do it and say, hey, I didn't scribble off Sharon's paper. I know exactly what's coming and everything. But that is why, again, like to your point earlier, is to embrace those similarities as well as the differences who makes us unique by very design. And I truly believe that can resonate with a lot of people. So, Rashida, I know you got a lot to say. I know you've been kind of quiet there, but I know you got some more to share.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
Sharon. A couple things. There's great power in redemption and great power in kindness. Because if you're kind enough to see the potential in our fellow human beings and not judge them for their past, because we all have a past, Lord knows, right?
Mhm.
See the things and the people that they can be. If you'd only give them credit, if you'd only give them the opportunity, and don't judge them. We all have things we're not proud of. None of us has been sin free in this life. Just give them a second chance, and you'll find out the new them, the new person that they could be and want to be, is beautiful.
And I love that, Rashida and Keith. I know you resonate with that because you're all about resilient in and of itself, and I truly believe that resilience kind of dynamic, Rashida, is built upon one which that again we can let go of judgment, we can let go of ego, we can let go of so many things. And Keith is now back, but Keith, I want to bring you in on this. For what Rashida just said about letting go of judgment, is that also a pathway to really get rid of perception and don't go down that road of deception, but really see people for who they really are?
Was that a Chris? I didn't hear you if that was a question for me.
Like I
Yeah,
said, for
my
what
audio is messed up.
uh,
Sorry.
Rashida just said
Yeah.
about letting go of judgment, is if we can let go of judgment, could that be a pathway for us to really not be in a place of ego anymore, but one of really connecting?
Correct. I mean, that's what you should do with any conversation that you're having with anyone, especially when you're trying to build a bridge. You should stop and suspend all judgment. So that's the full stop. That's it.
Yeah.
Just stop and suspend judgment right from the beginning of the conversation, regardless of what the conversation is going to be about, because then you're truly authentically showing up for the conversation and not just active listening, that you're present with them. If you are going to sit back there and you're going to just be in your own little glass house and you're going to just keep thinking, having your preconceived notions about how the conversation is going to go, or where the person's coming from, or judging them based upon, how they look or any of the other circumstances, and you're truly not showing up for them. But yes, that would help.
That is so awesome. And of course, Keith is always about resiliency. That's why he even built out Resilient Elephant and everything. And I'm sure he's got more to share with you all about that in and of itself. And Margaret, we're waiting on you. We'd like to hear your thoughts and everything. And Adur, I want to go to you before we close out the call and see if you have any final thoughts or anything that comes up for you. And Adur, are you there? So he might still be having some issues there in Bangladesh. I'm hoping that's not the case. But Abdur, first and foremost, we are just so humbled and honored that you even took the time to even show up with us today. We greatly appreciate that. And Margaret, like I said, we're just waiting on you. Can't wait for you to come share. But Keith, what's some great things that are happening between Adaptive, Eat, Adapt, Grow, and everything in between? What's been going on so far?
We have been moving towards developing the programming that's going to be outside of the realm of our prior projects, which were based upon technology. At this point in time, the US government, is still delaying funding for the tablet program that we're working off of. So we are pivoting to new programming that's not going to be as heavily reliant upon technology, and it's going to be we're starting the first program that we're going to start working on is with homelessness, actually. And we do have a meeting this week with one of our new strategic partners that's going to help us actually get this ball rolling. So we're looking forward to that. And then again, we're hoping that in the near future, we're able to step back into the technology front. Since we have an immense amount of marketing materials already created, we have members that are signed up, ready to go sign members of our community up with essential internet access so we can reduce the digital divide that we have throughout the country. And with Eat, Adapt, Grow, we're going to probably make the decision today if we're going to delay the book for another 5 or 10 days until we can get a forward in from a reputable author. If that could happen, of course, that would be great. That would help us immensely. So we're trying to figure that out now, and that's going to be my mission for today, is to see what steps that we have to take, since Amazon did let us know that we could delay it. We just have to let them know now. And if we don't let them know in time, it means we can no longer publish for a year if we miss our date of submission. So anyways, that's what we're working on right now, is just making sure we can get our book out there, which is going to be called Eat, Adapt, Grow. After this book is put out there, we are going to develop a series within Bringing Humanity Together, and also with some of our impact partners that we have out there. So we are looking forward to learning more about the Stars of Humanity, and Chris will be able to tell you more about that, where you can go on and you can sign up and become one of the Stars of Humanity, so we can feature you on any of the, maybe it could be on a call, maybe it could be on some internet marketing, or potentially even a workshop we can have you partner with Bringing Humanity Together on. So again, lots of great stuff is going to be happening in the near future. Please bookmark us. Check us out on LinkedIn, and again, please like us at Stars of Humanity, so we can start building up our connections, which will help us then be able to have more marketing capabilities too as well throughout the group. But thank you all for being with us here today, and I'm going to pass this back over to Chris.
Yeah, in fact, I just sent the link over to Margaret, and Margaret's going to join us here in just a second. And Keith, I know if you got to go, I can understand that. Greatly appreciate you, sir.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
I wanted to tell you something funny.
Okay.
When I was going through my mediation for my divorce, my lawyer held her laptop because it was during COVID. She was pissed. She wanted in-person mediation, but we had to meet with the mediator in separate rooms on Zoom. And she had her laptop in her lap, and she just got a boob job. Okay. And I mentioned that because here was the view through the whole thing, was right at her waist, up her chest. I couldn't concentrate. I'm like, well, that's, I guess, where my money went to.
Well, and sometimes people will do the strangest things. So, I mean, you really, really don't know. And ties it right into our topic of today. Does perception lead into deception? Because again, if she's only showing you this side of the mediation and everything like that, you really don't know what's going on in her mind because of that and everything.
And really, I'm joking about it, because had she known, and I really should have sent her a private message or text, had she known, she would have been embarrassed, because the perception is that I'm not so professional after all. And we women face enough of that in what we wear, how we wear our hair, all that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Absolutely. 110%. So we're just waiting on Margaret. Hopefully Margaret can join here in just a second, and we'll be closing out the call, because we're literally in overtime, baby, as they say, OT. And sometimes those OTs can help you win out the day in and of itself. But I want to go back to you, Rashida. If we do let go of perception and judgment and everything in between, then does that build a foundation for us to really, again, connect in a way that gets us to another place and maybe even another level, whether to be in our leadership, whether to be in our followership, maybe the way we work with people, Does that provide that pathway for that?
I truly believe so, because you're not judging the person, you're opening up yourself to accepting and receiving them as they are unconditionally. And wherever that leads to, it can only be a place of good, something positive, because they feel, oh, you accept me the way I am, I can trust you, as opposed to, oh, you're just judging me, forget it, I don't even want to talk to you. Like, there's two opposite ends of the spectrum right there.
Right? Absolutely. And I love that. So I truly believe, again, if we are willing to really let go of those things that kind of hold us back or puts us in a kind of separator kind of state, for whatever rhyme or reason that happens, I truly believe we can chart our own course, or chart a way together to really, again, connect on that deep and meaningful human level. Because when we allow that to be there, then maybe we can really see something that can be potentially the way that we can really connect. Uh, and Margaret, I don't know why it's not allowing you to join, and everything. So let me try this one more time. So I'm sending you that. So but that's kind of weird. That's not allowing you to join. So no worries, Margaret, if you can't join. Uh, so we'll love to hear from you. And again, Margaret, I apologize, and because that is weird and everything. That is so weird, because that's why we got to get this uh, changed up for whatever reason. But again, we're just so humbled and honored by everyone who is now um, joined us. And Margaret, like I said, if you can't join, I can totally understand that and everything. And well, like I said, greatly appreciate you just showing up. Uh, so, and Chris, all you have to do is just copy and paste it and everything like that. And I don't know why LinkedIn does that. So we have to let LinkedIn know. So what I would highly suggest, though, Chris and Margaret, just kind of tag LinkedIn, and I believe you can even tag StreamYard too as well, because they do have a company page on LinkedIn. Put it out there and say, hey, LinkedIn, StreamYard, because they are partners in the live video space, because StreamYard is one of their providers. Just say, hey, I'm trying to get on to this call. Can you help out and everything like that? But like I said, I would love to hear from both of you, Chris and Margaret, and everything. But like I said, I'm just so humbled and honored even by the opportunity you guys are wanting to show up and everything. So again, Abdur, I know you've been intently listening, but we greatly appreciate you even showing up today. I know you've probably maybe had some internet problems or whatever the case may be, but we're glad that you took time out of your early morning, probably, because like I said, you're in Bangladesh. But again, we just greatly appreciate you. And then of course we appreciate Chris and Margaret, and of course Sharon, and our great partner here at Bring Humanity Together and Adaptive Strategy Group, Keith. And then of course, thank you so much, Rashida, for being with us today and everything like that. So like I said, I'm just so humbled and honored. But like I said, we got to kind of close out the call and everything like that, because we want to be mindful of people's time and everything like that. But again, Margaret and Chris, like I said, I would love to have one-on-ones with you about this and everything like that. And I apologize for whatever rhyme or reason that shouldn't occur, Chris, and I don't know why. So it's one of those weird quinky dinks and everything. So, but like I said, no worries. We'll definitely talk about this very soon and everything. So I apologize in and of itself, because that's just, like I said, so weird and everything. That is so weird. But like I said, that's what I would highly suggest though, is you guys both tag LinkedIn and StreamYard and say we're trying to get onto this, and even LinkedIn support too, so you can tag them too as well. So, like I said, looking forward to speaking and collaborating with all of you moving forward. So again, Rashida, thank you so much for being with us today, and of course, Sharon, um, and Keith, and of course, Chris and Margaret, and of course Nancy who jumped on. And no. There we
Oh
go.
my
There you go. As they say, third time is a charm, isn't it?
god.
Hi,
Yay!
guys.
Welcome.
Hello. Hello, beautiful people. How are y'all doing?
Doing well, doing well. How are you doing today on Transformational Tuesday?
Awesome. As always, amazing. So good to see you all.
Well,
Oh,
we're
yes.
glad that you're here with us today. As they say, third time's a charm. So you broke the barrier.
Did everybody leave already?
Pretty much. You still have Rashida here and
Okay.
I'm
Abdullah.
with you,
So
Sister Margaret.
Hi, how are y'all doing?
I'm
doing
better now
well,
that you're
doing
here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Wow. I really wanted to enter the conversation earlier. I was translating and everything, but yeah. So I was listening to everything and everybody, and I don't know, just a couple of questions. Were we having what we were all talking about people? Were we talking about humanity? Were we talking about the group? Who were we talking about?
well, our
Chris.
conversation topic of the day is: does perception lead to deception?
It can. I mean, perception can also be taken as a caution as well, if you think about it. Sorry, I had to have my camera off because I'm driving. But
You're
yeah,
good.
you know, you can't always, you know, perceive things. You know what I mean? It's. I don't know if we're talking about assumption. Also, is that what you mean as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I teach this to my daughter. And when you assume something, you're 99.9% wrong.
Right.
You're 0.01% or 0.1% correct. There's a chance. So it's
Right.
better not to assume something and ask a question and not to be afraid to, you have to have that confidence though to
Right.
ask a question. And yeah, so I feel that that's if but if we're talking amongst each other, I took a business communications class in college, so that you have to not take things personal either, and assume that because somebody's saying this or somebody's saying that. You have to look within self first, because if you don't look at yourself first, you cannot look at others. There's no way,
Right.
there's no reason to. So yeah, I mean, that's just how I feel about it. I know everybody has their opinions, and everybody's in a different headspace, for real. We all are. We're all walking different walks and doing different things and hoping and trying to get to the same result. The ending result is hopefully the same, is how I feel about it. Yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, you can't assume, because if you're going to assume, you're probably going to be wrong. So
Mm-hmm.
don't be afraid to ask a question. Ask, hey, are you mad at me, or do you mean this by that? And a lot of people, if you don't ask, then you're scared. You're basing things off of fear.
Yep.
That's what it is. And I loved your Star Wars quote, by the way. That was amazing.
No, thank you, Margaret. We greatly appreciate you. So this is what I like to be able to do with everyone today.
So
Uh,
yes.
if if you guys still want to have that great and engaging conversation offline, please message me and we'll make that happen. And definitely Rashida and Margaret, I'd definitely like to have that conversation with you offline too as well. Same thing with you, Chris, and of course Sharon and Keith and Nancy. We love to be able to have that conversation. And again, I really want to go into that realm of fear too as well, because fear can consume us
Yeah.
if we allow it to consume us. And I truly believe in that. So Rashida and Margaret and Abdur, thank you so much for taking time out of your
Yeah.
day to be with us today. I got to get ready to go pick up
Thank
my
you, Chris.
work today, but like I said, can't wait to collaborate with you. So Rashida, would you be up for that?
Absolutely, in a heartbeat.
Margaret, the challenge has been put out. Are you going to show up to that?
Yeah.
When, where, what to click
Absolutely.
on.
I love it. It's like, hey, bring the cookies and the milk. We'll be good.
Which restaurant are we meeting?
Well,
Which
yeah,
restaurant are we?
exactly. All righty. So Rashida, Abdur, Margaret, thank you so much. And like I said, looking forward to speaking to you guys offline about this and so much more. So you guys have a great day. Make your day. Yes, this was the overtime session, and I do sometimes like the overtime because you never know what comes out of overtime. It could be even a great event in and of itself. So from all of us here at Bringing Humanity Together, an adaptive strategies group, and Eat, Adapt to Grow. And now our new page here at Bringing Humanity Together, Stars for Humanity. That's where we'll be posting our Conversation for Humanity calls on to as well, besides our other main page. So you'll be start seeing that coming very soon and everything like that. So please follow us there at Stars for Humanity. And if you want to come share your story, Conversation for Humanity, please send me a message and I can get you that information straight away. And Margaret, like I said, I can't wait to collaborate with you, man, because like I said, you always bring
Yeah.
some great nuggets and everything. And like I said, let's do this, as Nike says.
Yes, thank you. It's hard to get off of work, and I was off at 2 o'clock, but and this is what I want to bring to this table here. I want to bring my Spanish speaking clients.
Nice,
We can
nice,
bring
nice.
bring bring los humanos juntos.
There you go. There you go.
We do
Alrighty,
bring
so I'm
humanity
looking
in
forward to it,
Spanish.
ladies. And like I said, just can't wait to, like I said, build this out with all of you and everything. I truly believe the future is going to be so bright. We're going to have to wear some shades and everything in between. So it's going to happen. So thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Rashida. Thank you, Abdur. And thank you, of course, Keith, Nancy, and Sharon, and Chris, who was actually chiming in today. We greatly appreciate you guys. So we'll
Yeah.
see each other tomorrow for Conversation for Humanity. And our guest will be, of course, Alexandria, who's a part of our great and growing community and
Yay!
team and everything. So she'll be our guest tomorrow, and that'll be at 2:45 Eastern Daylight Time. So if you want to join that call, please follow my page and follow our business page here at Bringing Humanity Together to join the call. And we'll be looking forward to speaking and collaborating with you all very soon. So if you want to reach out, connect with me on LinkedIn, send me a message, and we'll make that happen. So you guys have a great day. Make your day on Transformational Tuesday, and we'll see you tomorrow at 2:45. Have a great day, everyone.